Welcome back to episode 8 of Abiotic Factor Story Mode. If this is your first time here, I suggest starting from the beginning. There will be a place in the description for your convenience. Previously, our subjects spent their time searching for Layak essence, to hopefully unlock the next part of the facility, as well as a brief venture towards creating a new base. After pondering a moment, I decided to go deal with the power issue first, then move forward. So, I headed back to base, and once more destroyed the massive floating crystal. Then, ran all the way back. I placed the Layak essence in its place, and the X-ray fields went down, letting me gain access to the new place, which was heavily guarded. I had to dodge turrets and members of the Order constantly as I made my way through the area, trying to find the central control. After taking down another machine gunner, I was able to finally reach my goal. It was in the middle of the night when I located the central control and reset the security system. When I did, I heard guns fire all over the facility, the security turrets taking down the members of the Order. When I turned around, I found Dr. Khan, who had left the cell he was trapped in. He explained now the goal was to get the goo out the vacuum chamber door and gain access to the surface tunnel. To do so, I'd have to gain access to the portal in the hot fungi room. Day 41. By the time I left the central control, lights had come back on, and I began wandering around the newly opened parts of the facility. Though, admittedly lost in what I was supposed to do, I didn't know how to open the portal. Exploring farther led me to a security room. There was someone in there who was a survivor of a team who had trapped the Tarasque, a massive creature in containment. Apparently, its fluids can be used to sustain a portal network. Maybe that's what I need to open the new portal into the Mycofields. During my exploration, I did locate another tram. Riding it led me all the way back to the office sector, but I immediately rode it back and attacked the Tarasque. Day 42. I was still fighting. I even ran back to my base to grab a Tesla coil to help as well, but it didn't end up helping. It wasn't until evening that I was finally able to take it down. I ended up using a shotgun, and it fell to my very last shell. After dicing it up with my spear, I left for the Mycofields portal. I repaired the portal, then activated it, wasting no time jumping through. It was then that I was instantly glad I had been carrying the fire suit with me. The place was hot. I could feel my clothes basically burning off. After putting on the suit, I moved on, discovering a number of new items as I went. While I was exploring, the day and the night went by, but I continued on. Day 43. Finally satisfied with my collection of materials, I headed back to base, sorting my inventory, then crafting an anti-thermite. I headed back to where the vacuum chamber was, and I placed the thermite into the goo and activated it. Moments later, the whole thing lit up and eventually disintegrated. From there, I activated the keypad, and the massive door slowly opened. Entering led me to the security sector. The first thing I met was a Sister of the Unlost, one of the Gatekeeper's most renowned seer squads, according to my gate pal. She was surrounded by bodies, so I didn't doubt that. After exploring, I was able to find a doorway that, when opened, led me straight into the office sector. As I entered the office sector, the facility AI let me know that there was a biological incursion, so after quickly dealing with that, I went to sleep for the night. I'd explore more of the security sector when the lights were on. Day 42. Heading back to the security sector made me realize that the power wasn't working there. Lights stayed out, and it was freezing. I decided to press on, though. When the facility AI did its normal morning message, it was anything but normal. It was bugged out, talking weird, some of it complete nonsense. No clue what that was about. I continued exploring, opening any doors I could find so that I could get around easier. One thing I had noticed was the lack of specimens, which I'll take. I met up with Dr. Ken, and he was talking about the possibility of beings in the universe stranger than any the facility had ever contained, or accidentally let loose. Then he told me to find the surface elevator and wished me luck. Moving on, I located a broken security box. This one was pink, and it had what looked like a gun. Hopefully there aren't many of these around. One thing I noticed while I was exploring was the massive amount of blood, but lack of any bodies. I came across a button with an odd residue on it. As I approached, there was a sudden flash of light, and I heard something coming towards me. Then, the next thing I knew, there was a creature in front of me. And then I was in what seemed to be some kind of courtyard for a building. Looking around, I saw dozens of employees on my employee locator. The first person I met seemed to be a member of the Unlost, going by their outfit anyways. But they didn't even acknowledge me. The second person was a similar case. Nearby, there was a strange floating crystal that when I hit it, gave off a flash of light and opened some kind of gateway. On my way to enter, I found a black orb. My gate pal let me know that it was a night essence. Entering the gateway brought me back to the facility, so I continued exploring, going back to where that thing had jumped me before. I located an identical gateway and the creature was gone. I finally found the surface lift, and when I neared, I heard a throb of a gateway nearby, as well as an odd humming coming from a feminine voice. I decided to waste no time and called down the elevator. Moments after I pressed it, there was a loud bang as the surface elevator crashed into the floor. So much for that. Almost immediately after that happened, something appeared, and the only words that I could use to describe it are the Grim Reaper. It floated around, carrying a scythe, wearing a hooded cloak. I was too terrified to move, but to my relief, it disappeared after only a few minutes. I checked the surface lift, and it was indeed busted. When I was looking around, the weird creature appeared again, and I think it said something this time. I ran for my life, and there was a nearby employee, and I figured they had a safe spot, so I ducked into the room that they were, and their name was Sea Line. They explained that creature, as happened to me, was carrying people off somewhere. By the way she was talking, the creature tracks by sound. I'll make sure to be quiet from now on. I found an email on what I think was one of the Order's laptops. It mentioned a lodestone, as well as a picture of the massive vines I remember being in the labs. I decided to head back to base. I had a feeling I should go mess with those vines. When I got back, I met a Dr. Carson. She had lots of food for sale. I'll have to remember her for the future. I ended up crafting a personal teleporter, with the power to teleport me back to my workbench at will. After that, I finished putting stuff away and went to bed. Day 45. I traded with Miriam for a porcelain key, using the head from the creature that I killed a few days ago in Flathill. With it, I was able to open a nearby cacophony crate, or however that's pronounced, which had some new resources for me. Coming up to the massive vines in the labs, I used night essence and a snag vine seed on it, then activated the keypad. Doing so opened another gateway, which I entered into Antiverse 168. It was an eerie place for sure. Eventually, I came across a guard guarding a gate, who threw all kinds of threats at me. Unable to go that way, less due to the guard and more due to the fact that the gate was locked tight, I headed off a side trail. I came across a man chopping on a moving tree. The tree almost had a human shape to it. The man was a part of some sort of camp, and as soon as they saw me, they did not hesitate to attack. Clearing out the camp, I located a gate employee who had been hung. Unable to do anything, I moved on. I was able to get around to the backside of the gate, and from there, take out the guard and unlock the gate. Down the road, there was a massive wood fortress that was, once more, locked tight. Backtracking near where the camp was, I found a windmill. I tried sneaking up on a farmer, but he ran to a nearby tower and rang a bell, though it seemed that no one came to his aid. I was able to take a zip line from the nearby barn over the walls of the fortress. By this time, another day had passed. Day 46. I located a gate employee disguising himself as a fisherman. He had basically given up on giving back, but did mention there might be a way, so I continued my search. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you next week.